So first point, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Oman, different countries like that have allied themselves loosely, so to speak, with Israel. Is that a big surprise? No. You know this. Ezekiel 38, verse 13. Sheba and Dedan, associated with the merchants of Tarshish and all the young lions, will oppose Russia when she comes into the Middle East. And so be on Israel's side. Daniel 11, verse 41, speaks of the Tarshish powers being in Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. That's Jordan. The burden of Arabia. When the Jews flee from Russia, when it comes down, some of them will flee into Saudi Arabia and cared for by the Saudis, or the Arabians as the scripture says. So let's put it on a map. This is what we're seeing. Now it's worth noticing this. So there's Sheba down in that area there. Sorry about the colours, it's not so clear, is it? But Edom, Ammon and Moab, there's that territory there, and there's Saudi Arabia. Well, go back a few years. Look at 1967. 1967, Israel was attacked. She was attacked by Syria, Jordan, Egypt. Russia promised to come down but didn't get there, didn't have enough time. 6 days wasn't long enough. So she was threatened by all these countries or attacked by those countries. But now, let's come ahead 70 years, a jubilee from that period. And if we come at rough jubilee from that period, here we are, the 6-day war celebration. Roughly a jubilee later on. And look at the allies, the enemies of Israel now. They're allies. They're allies. You see, Trump advised the Sunni Arabs to ally themselves with Israel in order to defend themselves against Iran. More on that in a minute. So here's what we're seeing. They're friends with Israel now. Egypt, can you believe it? Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Jordan. Staggering changes. It seems to have changed overnight, yes, in 1 year. What did it? Well, this chap went across to see the Saudis. The first foreign visit he made, he went over and saw Saudi Arabia and he said to them, and to 30-odd countries, other countries who came to the meeting, many of them Arab countries, but also African countries, and said, you fear Iran. We'll arm you. We'll arm you. You can buy weapons from us. Yeah, just a mere 110 billion. We signed the deal with you. We'll arm you. But you still can't utterly defend yourself unless you get Israel on your side. Israel knows what to do. And so, here it was. Will Trump proclaim an Arab-Muslim NATO jihad, just alliance of Arab countries? Yes. That's what's been achieved. So there he is. He went over to Saudi, spoke to them. But look where he flew next. To Jerusalem. Spoke to them over there. Spoke to the Jews. And then, of course, up to Europe. He knows which way to go first, doesn't he? And he did so. And what was the result? Well, the new leader of Saudi Arabia, there he is, 32-year-old. And it's believed that he flew across to see Netanyahu. Saudi royal family makes a secret trip to Israel, it's believed, to be able to talk to them. Certainly this man did. He talked to Netanyahu. There he is, Prime Minister of Egypt. Speaking, of course, there he is, to Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. Public meeting. Staggering, isn't it? And over in the UN, Bahrain said they will no longer, as a matter of course, oppose Israel. We'll look at what Israel's saying and carefully think about it before we oppose them anymore. So you can see, United Egypt, Sunni Arabs like the Saudi Arabian Peninsula type Arabs. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain. They are now closer to Israel. Amazing, isn't it? In a blink, that took place. But why did those Arabs now ally themselves with Israel. Oh yes, Trump suggested it, but why? Well, here's why. Primarily, Iran threatens Saudi Arabia. US arms deals fail to make Riyadh, the capital of Saudi, secure. Oh yeah, you bought $110 billion of weapons, but unless you know which way to point the gun, it's not going to work or help you, is it? So you need Israeli help. Israel's got missiles that can knock out Iranian missiles. You know the latest missile Iran's got? Tell me if it misses. It's called David Sling. Does it miss? Of course not. So they haven't offered them to Saudi Arabia, the best of my knowledge as yet. But there we are. They are pretty skillful in what they're doing, aren't they? So you see, there's the threat. And of course, it's deeper than you think. Look, ominous alliance with Russia. There they are. Okay? Long-standing from the start of last year. That alliance has been growing closer and closer and closer together. It has the potential to escalate conflict in an already volatile region. That's what they're saying. But you see, things are switching, aren't they? They're changing. They're changing exactly in the way the Scripture said. Could you believe it? And you see, here we are, last year. What did he do? Only about 3 months ago, they launched a missile. Look where they reckon it can go to. It can cover Israel, can blow it up, or blow up parts of Israel. The feeling is that they probably haven't yet got their nuclear weapon in order. So Iran says, don't worry, we've sorted it out. This is what we'll do. We'll aim for this. What's that? That's the Dimona nuclear reactor owned by Israel. If we blow that up, there'll be fallout over the whole country. So there it is. I guess we all know what that is, but when we went to Israel, they said to us it was a knitting factory. That's what our guide said. Obviously, they didn't want us quite to know what it was, but we tried to educate him, but he wouldn't listen. Anyhow, be that as it may, there we are. They built that reactor in about 1954, 55. You think of it, 6 years after it came into action as a nation, they had a nuclear reactor. You think of it, how long did it take America to develop nuclear power? During the Second World War. And who helped them get it? Jewish minds. Jewish minds helped Israel to get it very quickly. But anyhow, that's an aside. All right, let's move on. So let's look at the analysis of what's going on. Here was held a meeting immediately after Trump. Here they are coming together in Istanbul, Constantinople, Turkey. All right? Islamic Summit on Jerusalem showcases the new Middle East alliances, or we might say split. And that's why I put a dotted line there. You see, here you can see Turkey, Iran, opposing recognition of Jerusalem. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates. They're on the other side and they wouldn't attend that meeting. So you see there's a division taking place in the Arab world. Exactly the way the Scriptures indicates. It's just stunning. So there's that division. Those are those that are pro-Saudi and pro-Israel now to gain a bit of support from Israel to defend against this group, the Shiites, the more fanatical Arabs based predominantly in Iran. I hope that's very clear. Now, no questions on that, is there? Now, there's one problem with that, one only area that doesn't fit the bill. Anybody know where it is? Here it is. Yemen. Yemen's part of Sheba. That's where the Queen of Sheba came from, didn't she? Okay? But it's at the moment, it's in utter chaos. There's been 1,000 days of war in Yemen between the Iranian-supported Houthi rebels and the other side of the situation, which is supported by Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia, in the last week or so, are moving even more strongly into that area. First of all, they've offered them a wonderful blessing. if only they'll listen to what Saudi offers them. They point out that 3/4 of the population need assistance. They're starving. They've been bombed out. They're in an absolute mess. And yet Saudi said, we will offer you, look at it, 1.5 billion aid straight away, provided you stop the fighting, get rid of the Houthi rebels that's being supported by Iran. If you change, all over. I believe ultimately it will happen, because we know from Scripture what's going to take place. But at this stage, that's where it is. So we can see where things are going. But Saudi's done something else really quite amazing. Saudi Arabia just announced plans to build a mega city that will cost $500 billion. Why? And where is it going to be built? Well, it's hard to see on that map. I've got a bigger one in a second. Well, maybe we'll come to it. Here it is. There's where the map is. And let's have a look at a bigger one. There's Israel. Okay, up here. The coastline's not very clear in this light. But there's where the city's going to be built. Down here is the Gulf of Aqaba. All right? What they're talking about, linking themselves with Jordan across there and a bridge into Egypt. All right? They're all the allies of Israel. But what they're saying is, one day, and I don't believe this is going to happen, but one day the oil's going to run out, they say, and we're not going to have any wealth. So what we need to do is build a big city that's based on high technology. We'll be a big technological centre. We'll build that, and the world will depend on us then for that high-tech research. So here's what they are thinking they're going to build. They're going to build this city here in the area of Bosra, Edom. We could talk more about that in Scripture, but we haven't time what's to happen in the future. But this is what they reckon the city's going to look like. There it is. Saudi Arabia just announced plans to build this $500 billion mega city that's going to be 33 times bigger than New York. A dream. I'm sure it's not going to happen. Time's not going to be there. But that's what they think. And you see, who are they aligning themselves with? Egypt, Jordan. And they're down below Israel. And I bet you if they're going to go high tech, they need Jewish minds to help them. But now,